Welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Oh, man, it's great to hear your voice. You've been off for a while. Figured you needed a break. How you doing, brother?
Oh, man, I am good. We talked a little bit off show here. My wife, she's out of town, so I've kind of reverted back to college days, and I'm drinking more than I should. I'm playing these video games, and I tell you what, man, I'm behind quite a bit here. You know, you take about 10 years off, video games will pass you by. I mean, it is not. I need some old school games, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's been fun watching all the news online. You know, I'm keeping up with the coaches. I've been watching it. Great shows, Mike, by the way. If you guys haven't got an opportunity, I really have enjoyed the last two episodes you guys put out. Fantastic news, and that's something that we've talked about getting a little bit more of in the off season, and having some more guests, and you know, kind of cutting loose, letting her hair down a little bit, but we can't do that just yet because there's so much damn action right now, Mike. Every time I turn on the Twitters, it feels like something positive is going out in Kentucky. I don't know what the hell is going on up there in Lexington, but them boys are on fire right now.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in just a moment, Shane. Show topic this week, of course, Christmas right around the corner. So we're going to do a early signing day recap on the next episode. We're going to be previewing the Missouri Wake Forest Gasparilla Bowl, but then we're going to be off for Christmas. So what better time, Shane, than to talk SEC, what gifts Santa will be bringing to each and every SEC team. We love to hit on all 14 teams as much as possible, so we thought it would be a fun idea. Christmas right around the corner. How's that sound, buddy?
That sounds awesome. So kind of break down what we're doing here. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's going to hit every single school, and what he's bringing with him is something to make your program better. Is that basically what we're doing today, Mike?
Right, and it could be, just about anything. Could be a coach, could be a quarterback, could be, position group, whatever. Whatever your program needs this Christmas, Santa is coming to town. And he's going to deliver the goods.
I love it, Mike. I'm probably going to lean in hard on your list because Mike has had plenty of time to think this thing. To be fair, I should have had time. Mike gave me plenty of heads up, and I was at the last minute being like, oh, is that today? So we're going to see what happens here, but I love the idea. 'Tis the season, and, this is kind of when you may not had the season you wanted, but you keep saying to yourself, if we get A, B, and C, we're going to be in such great shape next year. And I know it's not just my team, it's your team, it's every team. But if ABC happens, then we're going to be making a run, it feels like. So I'm kind of curious to see what you came up with today, Mike.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shane. So, hey, show topic here, SEC, Santa's coming to town. Let's start with Alabama. I think you're going to love this one, Shane. What does Alabama need to fix their ails?
Offensive coordinator.
Get rid of both these damn coordinators. Bill O'Brien, Pete Golden, see your ass on to another job. So I think we're just waiting for the Sugar Bowl. I don't know that they're both going to be gone, but certainly got to believe Bill O'Brien is going to be gone. I don't know where he's going. He's rumored for every single job. It's wild how all these guys that are rumored for these jobs, Shane, never get them. It gives you an indication if they're really candidates or if they're just their agents trying to drum up some interest. But I bet you Bill O'Brien, he'll be a tight end coach or a quarterback coach or something in the NFL because I don't think he'll be back in Tuscaloosa. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I am curious where he goes. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a small college gig somewhere out west where we've never heard of a school. That's typically what happens. Get out there. But, I think Alabama – they tried something different. It didn't work. And Nick Saban, he's at the point of his career where he ain't got time to just sit around and try to coach these guys up. If you can't get it, you're out. So I definitely expect some changes on both coordinators here, and I think that is immediately going to improve things down in Tuscaloosa.
Right. Now, how about for the Arkansas Razorbacks, Shane? I think they just got to do exactly what they did last offseason. They lost Treylon Burks. We're sitting here saying, well, who in the hell is going to be catching passes from KJ? Mm-hmm. They go to the portal. They get Jadon Hazelwood. They get Matt Landers, two of the SEC's top receivers. They got them out of the portal, but they're out of eligibility. And, of course, we just mentioned Trey Knox. He's off to South Carolina. So we need to just repeat what we did last year, Shane. Bring in some receivers ready to play. This coaching staff has proven they can get guys in here, and they can get them up to speed quickly. I know they've got some talent still on that roster. Keytron Jackson also hit the portal. So, I mean, we're looking at a total rebuild of the receiving core, which is obviously not what you want, but this staff has experience doing that and doing it successfully the next season. So they have got to get some receivers in here.
So Santa comes to town and he drops off some receivers here. I mean, did you give pause anywhere to the defense side of the ball? I mean, was there any hesitance, or was it, hey, we just got to get KJ some athletes around him?
Oh no, I mean, we really need some linebackers if we're Arkansas. You know, with Drew Sanders off to the NFL, Bumper Pool out of eligibility. I mean, those are two. I mean, we're talking a consensus All-American and the leading tackler in school history. So, yeah, we got gaps at linebacker, defensive back. Obviously, a lot of guys hitting the portal like Jalen Catalon. There's issues there, and their defensive line's probably going to be the strength now next season, but they could use some talent there as well. Yeah, they do need help all over that defense, Shane, but that's why they hired Travis Williams, because that guy can recruit. I think he is your Santa on that defensive side of the ball. He'll deliver for you. I'm just not that I don't think the offensive coaches can't do it themselves. Hell, they just did it, but we got to repeat that, because I think Arkansas next season, similar to this past year, it's going to be led by the offense. Mm-hmm. And that ain't going to happen if we don't have some receivers emerge.
No. And it's just like Madden, man. I know I'm in video game mode, but, the first thing I want to do is I want to load up my weapons. I want wide receivers. I want running backs. I want a quarterback. And we just got to outscore them, baby. So I'm here with that. And it's a fun place, man. It seems like it would be an easy sell that you got, hey, I've got a quarterback coming back. Mm-hmm. I've got all these pieces in place for you. You can come in here and make a name for yourself and go on next to the NFL. So I think it's got its own pull to it. So I think that would be a good get for Arkansas.
Now, how about for Auburn, Shane? I went with, there's a lot of deficiencies on this roster, too.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze doing a good job already attacking the recruiting trail, getting a couple flips. They need to land some plug-and-play players on both lines of scrimmage. I think that is where Auburn is at its weakest right now. Mm-hmm. Now, the good news with the transfer portal, we can flip this in a hurry, but we're losing a ton on both sides. I don't have a lot of confidence in the offensive line they got, so they are doing a good job attacking that already. But there's many issues that you could point to on Auburn's roster, but for me, it's got to start in the line of scrimmage.
Do you think that's what Hugh wants for Christmas? No. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't. I'm sorry. I've been drinking all day. So, Mike, I'm with you here. I think patience wouldn't be a bad deal either.
Right.
So one of the things that Auburn has really been struggling at is they want it now. And and with the transfer portal and Kelly, right down the street taking you to an SEC championship, it's the pressure's on. But I think that Auburn needs a little time, man. They need a little build, and yes, they can go in the portal and they can plug and play and fix a few holes here and there. But competitive depth is still something that you've got to build from the ground up. So I think the Plains just needs a little bit of patience down there. So I think that's what Santa needs to drop off.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about for the Florida Gators, Shane? Again, this is one where a lot of holes on this roster. Certainly, we just saw it in the Las Vegas Bowl. That was a disappointing performance. They're killing it Well, killing it's a strong word, but they're doing a good job on the recruiting trail. I think they got about 24 stars committed. Very good class coming in. But I want to see them get a big-time transfer quarterback. I think that's the only way to kind of spark next season's roster. And maybe you could critique it and say, well, hell, they had a big-time quarterback this year, and they didn't do much with it, and that's true. But, man, you just can't win in college football without an elite quarterback, and there's not one on the roster now. They got a true freshman, Jaden Rashada, coming in. Very, very high hopes for him. But, again, if you're starting him, we're probably looking at 7, 8 wins at the most. And, hell, that's not even supposed to be a good year down there in Gainesville. You know what?
I am with you, Mike. I would love to see just a splash name. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think that would help because, that's not going to be the strength of their game. They are not going to be a quarterback first team right now. Now, maybe later in life, of course, but, you've got two of the best running backs in the league right now, but they will not get the exposure. They will not get the opportunities or chances if you can't make teams two-dimensional. If you don't, get them out of 8 in a box, that sort of situation. So, yeah, we need a serviceable quarterback, and I think that's exactly what they want down there in Gainesville.
Now, how about in Athens, Shane, a program that has it all? The only thing I can think to give them Bulldogs, Shane, is an upgraded trophy case because they're about to bring home another natty. If they can get past Ohio State and whoever they got to face, Michigan or TCU in the national championship game. But that was literally the only thing I could think to get them dogs. How about you?
God, isn't that sad? Maybe nicer seats down there in their stadium, a new decibel system so we can really see how loud it is down. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, dog fans. No, I think I think they got everything they need right now. Maybe an extension with Kirby or something, or a little bit. Maybe less coaches poached. How about that? Keep this staff together for a couple more seasons. I think that's what Georgia wants, just to keep things going the same old, because guess what? It's working. So that's what Georgia Bulldogs want another national championship. Obviously, that's going to be a big one too.
And, it'll be fascinating to see this offseason, Shane. I don't want to go too fast forward because, again, they've got some epic games upcoming that we're going to have to break down, and we'll see how those go. But it is going to be fascinating to see how they handle this transition from Stetson Bennett, because they got Carson Beck, who's shown, he's not played a ton, but he's got a huge arm. They got 2 5-stars sitting behind him. I mean, they have got loads and loads of options under center, and that's going to be, the probably the storyline of the offseason down there in Athens, how they handle it, making sure they make the right decision. I have no idea if any of those guys are considering transferring. I'm not putting that out there, but that's kind of the way college football is now. I mean, there's going to be one winner, and then there's going to be 2 losers in the competition. I'm not calling them losers, but whoever does not get that job, there's probably going to be at least a transfer. So I can't wait to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I always enjoy a program being built from the ground up. But it is harder, I would think, to just stay on top of things. I mean, you look at what Alabama's done. I mean, that's been remarkable, but it is not an easy feat when the bullseye's always on you, when your players are always being targeted. And like you said, you bring them in to be numero uno. Well, there's a lot of numero unos on that roster, right. And if they're not getting the ball, they're going to want to leave, or they're going to want to go up to the next level. And it's a dance, man. And the day where you can't just focus on recruiting, but you got to focus on recruiting your own team. I can only imagine the sleepless night Kirby has, even though he's had an undefeated season.
Right. And going back to, I don't want to create drama here, Shane, but we just say about Florida, they need a big time quarterback.
Yeah.
Remember, the portal opens up again for a shorter time after spring practice. So maybe Georgia, when we see how this quarterback depth chart shakes out, Carson Beck's from Jacksonville. Brock Vandergriff and Gunnar Stockton, they're from Georgia, but it ain't that far of a drive to Gainesville. So I'm just saying, one of those guys, who knows? He could be the next Florida starting quarterback. You know what?
So what you're saying is one of the clickbait Mike's back at it again.
All right, Kentucky. I already said, Shane. Santa already delivered their goods. They got Devin Leary. They got Ray Davis.
Yeah.
But where they need some help, they need this offensive line to return to form. And if they can get that done, I mean, they might legitimately have one of the best offenses in the SEC. That's about the only thing standing in their way.
Dude, I'd put whatever I've got left in the NIL collective, and I'd track down every fat boy in town, and I'd say, come on down to Lexington. You've got a quarterback. We got a running back. We got a receiving core. This place wants to win. This is a football town, and we're ready to put some games up. And I think that's where they're at right now. And that's where they're going, brother. These coaches are on fire right now. I put out that meme earlier with the Hangover crew. We're the best friends. That's what they're doing. They're driving around all east United States right now, just picking up recruits. So I don't think we're done yet. I think we got to hit in the portal. And like you said, if Santa can deliver some offensive line down there, golly, then here we go, the hype train. He'll be coming in. Stoops will be doing his own hype reel with them Viper sunglasses,
And real quick, Shane, you want to shout out Cousin Ollie. He sent me a bottle of bourbon. It's nicer than any bourbon I got in my house right now. So just want to say thanks again, Ollie, for sending that on over. And he gave me a note here, Shane. It says, because he knows Cousin Shane ain't sharing none of his, he had to send some my way. How about it?
It was so funny because I was going to Nashville, and John went out of his way to say, hey, you going to bring some of that Blanton's over there? And I was like, no, I'm not. I love you, man, but no, I'm not. And I shout out to Todd, too. I've been kind of holding off. Todd finally, he set down his bottle. Fantastic bottle. And I'm going to showcase that right before the Kentucky game because it is an absolute awesome gem that he's found for me. And so two of my bourbon bets are in, and you're giving Ollie punctual Ollie. That's one thing. Probably he don't mess around. That damn bottle was down there the next week. Todd drags his feet a little bit. I get that. It's a tough pull. But Nick, I'm looking for him, man. Media days. He better have my bourbon. So then that's three of my bourbon bets. But absolutely excited for those guys up there because they just keep getting great news up in Lexington.
Yep. All right. How about LSU, Shane? What did the Tigers need after winning the SEC West in Brian Kelly's first season? Just stunned the college football world, really. Mm-hmm. But, man, they're recruiting like gangbusters, too. Look, they got top 5 recruiting class, may finish in the top 3. But you know what they're missing right now? A big-time running back down there in Baton Rouge. Brian Kelly loves to run the ball. Jaden Daniels was sensational. This is not a critique on him, but he was also your leading rusher. And that speaks to, they got some quality backs down there. I get it. The offensive line was kind of reshuffled, so some of that's on all those factors. But whenever I think of LSU, Shane, I think of big-time running backs. Josh Williams, he's great, second leading rusher on the team there. But I want to see a big-time running back sporting that LSU jersey. How about you?
Yeah, man, I like that. I always think about that. I was watching 40-year-old Leonard Fournette. I think he's older than I am. It's just like there's been some absolute monsters come through LSU, and we've not got that. We've been promised it, and nothing against some of the great running backs that have come through here the last few years, but it's not LSU running back. So you're right. I want to see a Falk. I want to see a Fournette. I want to see somebody that you could turn around and hand off 30 times and he's going to fall forward 3-4 yards every single time. That's what I want to see, a big back. And once they get that, I think that's going to make that offense run a little bit better. That's going to help. You want to help Daniels out? Give him somebody that can run the damn ball.
Yeah. All right, how about for Ole Miss, Shane? I went with Lane Kiffin, the Portal King. He's got to keep that title, Shane. They have got to strike again because that defense, man, it was like a Swiss cheese defense there at the end of the season. They've got some depth issues on offense. They've got some star players, no doubt. But I need to see Lane Kiffin striking hot in that portal again. Their high school recruiting has been taking a couple of hits here coming into signing day, and people freak out about that. But because he's the Portal King, he looks at it. I like his strategy a lot more, Shane. Why spend so much time on these high school kids that come in here? They can leave at any time. They're unproven. Or
Yeah.
do you look at college players that have proven something that they want to use their one free waiver to come to play for you?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Ole Miss has to do if they're going to get beyond, third, fourth in the West to hopefully make it to Atlanta under Lane Kiffin. They got to strike and get some more stars out of the transfer portal.
I see what you're saying, but I think it needs to change a little bit, Mike. I mean, now there's a big commitment to being at Ole Miss. There's a big commitment to sticking around for a while, and you establishing some relationships with some of those local coaches isn't a bad idea. At least your own damn state. Mississippi State the state of Mississippi is loaded with talent. So if you can build those relationships, I think you can build yourself some pipelines and be just as fun with high school kids as you are with college kids. And but if I'm Santa, man, and I'm dropping off anything at Lane Kiffin's doorstep, it's freaking money, man. It is money. It is NIL money. I mean, you saw it. He loses a recruit. Next thing he does, he tweets about it. This is a guy that is telling the boosters right now he needs some damn help. He wants to compete with programs like Alabama and Georgia, and you cannot do that if you don't have the same thing. I mean, some kids are just chasing money, Mike. That's all it is.
Right.
So I think if I'm dropping anything off at the doorstep, Lane Kiffin's well, there's a few things I'd drop off, but but what does Ole Miss fans need? They need some more money. They need the collectives to really start taking off down there in Oxford.
All right, how about Mississippi State, Shane? Zach Arnett is now our full-time head coach here. They just had a touching memorial there in Starkville. I hope everybody had a chance to watch that. I did on Tuesday on SEC Network. Just fantastic. But, this may seem cold, Shane, but we got to move on from, under Zach Arnett, and it's not because just everybody else is moving on, and they are making moves. They're trying to steal your dang roster. I mean, this is a cutthroat SEC. What does Santa need to drop off from Mississippi State, Shane? I think he needs to give some wisdom here to Zach Arnett, because I think who Zach Arnett names as offensive coordinator is probably going to define how successful he is as a head coach here at Mississippi State. Because I got all the confidence in the world in this defense. He's a heck of a defensive coordinator. They're getting a lot of those pieces back, but you also got Will Rogers. You want to keep him happy. You want to name an offensive coordinator that'll gel with him. He's got to take his time, make the right decision. That's much more important than making a quick hire. So who they hire, I mean, it's got to be the right decision. That's what I want Santa to deliver. Bring the wisdom to Zach Arnett to make the right decision at offensive coordinator, because like I said, I think it defines his career at Mississippi State.
Yeah, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about this in the offseason, but there was a lot of pressure hires this season, and especially for coordinators. And I think of South Carolina. I'm looking at Texas A&M. I'm looking at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm looking down there. Now, I mean, we weren't expecting Mississippi State. I mean, we that one was a done deal, but obviously losing the Pirate, he wants to keep that job. And sometimes that first hire that you make can really backfire on you, or it really can make you, man. It really can keep you in a position of being a Power 5 coach for a long, long time. So it's crucial. Or people are just going to keep walking away and say, well, he's a good defensive guy, but he's not a head coach. So I think you're right. If you're going to – wisdom is fantastic. I'd love that. Wisdom, or just a freaking offensive coordinator. Let's skip a few steps. Just drop a gem right there in his lap that can keep this offense moving. And, you don't want to this program is built to run a certain type of system. So you got to be real careful. I think you hit the nail on the head with the wisdom, because you can't bring in a different style coordinator because you don't have time to rebuild that side.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about from Missouri, Shane? There's a couple different ways you can approach this one, but I think when I think of the 2022 Missouri Tigers, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if they had more consistent, better performance from the quarterback position, this could have been a hell of a team. And you got a lot of the team coming back. So Brady Cook, looked like he took a step towards the tail end of the season. Carry that over to the bowl game. Maybe he has a ton of confidence going into the offseason. Santa, deliver. Brady Cook being a more consistent, solid quarterback. And I think the Missouri Tigers are going to be one of the more dangerous sleepers in the SEC.
Ooh, Mike. You know, I'm with you there. I think you're in the right area. I think quarterback is definitely an area of concern. But whether it's the portal, whether it's from within, I think there needs to be a little sprinkle of dust, and somebody needs to step up and lead the charge here, because you want to talk about some fun, exciting wide receivers, buddy. You cannot do it and not mention Columbia, Missouri, because they have got talent around that quarterback. And if we don't get it by week 3 or 4, they're going to put Eli right back on the hot seat. So I think this is a very crucial position. And if it is Cook, man, he needs to take the step. Maybe you're onto something there. But if he's not, buddy, we need somebody to come in here and make some noise, because if not, the outside, because we will make the noise.
Mm-hmm. All right, how about South Carolina, Shane? I think this is an easy one. We'll see if you agree. Santa, bring us one more year of Spencer Rattler.
One second, Mark. Santa needs to bring Mike some patience, putting up with Shane's ass all this time. All right. No, brother. Yeah. Who else? What else is there right now? For what we saw the tail end of this season, if that could continue, I feel like we opened up a new chapter of Rattler's life here. And he may chase the money, but if they could bring him back, I think that would be an absolute home run hit for South Carolina.
Right. I mean, you got all the momentum in the world. Mm-hmm. Man. And if he plays the way, man, well, I don't want to repeat myself, but if he could keep it up, my goodness, Shane, I mean, he could be the SEC's best quarterback next season.
Oh, yeah.
He really could.
No, he could. He really could be. And that could be an earlier commitment wouldn't be bad.
Right.
If you could get this on Christmas, and then that way the portal's still open, the recruiting trail's still open.
Yep.
There's a lot of things. They can build it. That could be a sales pitch that Beamer and Company can use while they're out there. So, Santa needs to deliver that thing by Christmas.
And, Shane, real quick, I don't want to go too off the rails here, but that's what South Carolina needs. That's what Kentucky needs. No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but, to catch Georgia, you got to have a star quarterback.
Yeah.
And we saw Tennessee. I mean, that's what they had this year, and they beat Alabama. They didn't come close to knocking off Georgia, but hell, they were number 1 in the college football playoff. This is what can separate a South Carolina, Kentucky. That's why these quarterbacks are so important. Not really saying anything earth-shattering with that comment, but without Spencer Rattler, I don't think South Carolina's got a prayer at winning the SEC next season, if that makes sense. With him, you at least got a fighting shot.
At least it leaves the door cracked, I mean,
right.
You can always say, well, I mean, even with Tennessee, you mentioned Tennessee, so I'm going to use that as an example. If what would have happened if it was a neutral field and it wasn't raining? Yeah, I'm one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? What if our receivers weren't beat all to hell by the time they got down there? And maybe what if we caught them week 2 and we were not there's a lot of what ifs, and obviously that didn't happen. So calm down, Dog fans. Enjoy your national championship that's coming to you. I'm just saying that if the stars were aligned and you've got great quarterback play, you can win some freaking ball games. Look at Spencer Rattler. Nobody gave them a snowball's chance in hell in beating Clemson or Tennessee, and Lord knows both of them, and they did it because of great quarterback play. That wasn't the only factor, but the fact that we got it made everybody else around them better, made the defense better. It gave them more confidence as a receiver. They get, it's just it's a trickle down effect. So we're coming in right now, Mike, to a 2020. I'm telling you, it's a down year. That's what they're all saying right now. Where's the quarterbacks? Where's the quarterback? Bryce is gone. KJ came back, yes. Rodgers came back. Okay, maybe Rattler. Okay, so where are our quarterbacks? And this is a year that those guys can really take a next step and be an early Heisman candidate, first round pick. You know, Matlock. What's his name? Maylock. Is it Maylock? Yeah,
Mike Mayock.
Mayock. Yeah, I probably shouldn't even. I don't know his name. It's probably talking, but this is when we're going to start hearing the rumor. Right after the draft, these guys are going to be put on the quarterback list and for the NFL. So I'd love to see him come back. I'd love to see him take that next step because I really do think there is something to work with down there in South Carolina. Not that he can't make it in the NFL, but another year, I think that is sometimes kids get lost in the NFL, man, because they don't have time. They don't have time to develop you. There's too much money, and time is so restricted. I've seen so many quarterbacks get chewed up and spit out. Not just quarterbacks, just other positions because they just don't have time to develop you up there. And if they don't see it, they're going to get rid of you because there's 2 or 3 more guys right behind you that are just as good and closer to being able to play. So I think another year would not be a bad move for Spencer.
Now, how about the Tennessee Vols, Shane? I think there's a number of different ways you could kind of go with this. We got, an all-time quarterback going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the best receiving core at one time in school history. Most of those guys moving on. You got some star linemen moving on. But for me, Shane, I don't want to say the players don't matter because that's disrespectful, but I just got so much confidence in Josh Heupel and his system. I think they're going to have production. It may not be as good because they were like all-time good, but I think that the offense will be very good as long as Josh Heupel is there running it, and he's got competent quarterback play, and he's got Joe Milton, and he's got Nico, and he's got Tavian Jackson. He'll find an answer between those three. So what does Tennessee need, Shane? They need better pass rush, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The LSU game they dominated, that was a key factor. They were all over Jaden Daniels. They dominated Kentucky. They were all over Will Levis. That Pitt game, that was a pivotal game. They knocked the first string out, second string. I mean, they were killing that guy. Tennessee's defense obviously has some issues at times, but they are pretty good, actually, when they have a good pass rush. They've got a number of good players here. They may have to get 1 or 2 out of the portal, or they just need some of these young guys to keep progressing, and Tennessee should be just fine. So if I'm Santa, if I'm a Vol fan, what I'm asking for, better pass rush, because that'll even make the pass defense better, because, hell, these quarterbacks are going to be running for their lives. You know what?
No, I'm kind of with you, man. It definitely defense would be my side. Even the secondary, I wouldn't. If you told me, hey, let's just load up the secondary, and that way we can put more people at the line of scrimmage to stop the running game or, load up and try to attack the quarterback. Either way you slice that thing, it's definitely going to be defense because just like this season, Tennessee was only good as defense would allow them, and unfortunately there's a few teams that really, really exposed Tennessee Vols. So I'm going defense as well. I don't care where it comes from, whether it be pressure up front or whether it be coverage in the back. So whichever one it is can be an improvement. If Santa could please drop that off, that'd be fantastic because I'm with you. I think Heupel he's a gamer. He's going to find talent at the quarterback room. Hell, it may not even be on this roster just yet, Mike. Don't be surprised if somebody don't come in. I'm not saying that happens, but that's how we got Hooker. It's how we got Milton to begin with. So that door's always open, and if somebody comes in and gives this Tennessee team an opportunity to win ball games, Heupel's going to do it. So I'm not afraid of the offense side. We're going to still get yards, but what we need is better defense.
Now, how about for Texas A&M, Shane? I mean, I think this is an easy one. We'll see what you think. Bring me a big-time offensive coordinator that'll get along with Jimbo, but let Jimbo will respect him enough that he can call the plays and just – we don't have to blow up the offense. We just got to, we got all the talent in the world. Just, bring some creativity to it. Bring a little sparkle to it. Bring something that'll confuse SEC defenses, and A&M will be right back in the thick of the SEC race. Bring me a big-time offensive coordinator.
Mike, I am with you, been with you. Santa drop it off, the Easter Bunny drop it off. I don't care what fictional character you want to bring in. Just get rid of what we had because it was not working. Burn that damn playbook up. I'm ready to just start over. And like you said, it needs to be somebody that has Jimbo's respect. It can't be somebody that he can pee on, just a mouthpiece. We don't need that. We need somebody that can bring something in. A little bit of 22 in Jimbo's system, and I think we've got some. I mean, the weapons are going to be there. Talent's going to be there. I'm watching. They're recruiting like crazy. There's no problem there. It doesn't matter. These guys lose all their games. They're still going to get 5-star talent down there. It's set up for them perfectly. They just need somebody to develop that talent. So I'm with you. Give me a coordinator all day long.
Now, last but not least, Vanderbilt, Shade. I mean, we made huge strides on offense this season. They were just pathetic a season ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now the offense has been the strength of that team. I'm flipping it. We need to see that similar turnaround on the defense. Clark Lee, that's what he was brought in to do. Big-time defensive coordinator, and it's taken some time, understandably. I mean, it was a train wreck when he got there, but this will be year 3 under Clark Lee next season. The depth should be better. The talent should be better. They continue to recruit, not at an elite SEC level, of course, but a very, very good for their track record. Talent, again, among the elite in the SEC, it's a wide gap. I get it. But should be the most talented team that Clark Lee has had yet to date. So I want to see this defense take a step forward. The offense was enough to get us a couple SEC wins. If we have a competent offense and defense, man, we're cooking. We're cooking with something here.
I do. I love some of the pieces they have. I think Santa could just, if he could redo the whole system there, that would be ideal because, we talked at the start of the show about our little boy coming up to Lexington. He shouldn't be there. Ray should be down there at Vanderbilt, but they screwed the pooch here and systematically was not allowed to stay in Vanderbilt, which is one of the best players on that roster, and it blows my mind. So obviously that's what I'd love Santa to really do, and I'm going to keep saying that because maybe one day they'll start taking sports serious over there in Nashville. But until then, Mike, I'm with you. We got to have some defense. Orji gone. I need somebody in that backfield. I need a linebacker to just eat up the tackles and just be the captain and the battle axe over there to keep them in games because I'm with you. I think they've got some wonderful pieces on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to move the chains. They're going to put points on the board. It is Vanderbilt. They are building something out there, and it's not something that's going to be there next year. It may not be there until the year after, but it is getting better. The program is getting better. And again, similar to Tennessee, they need somebody on defense because this team's only going to be as good as that defense will allow them.
Yep. Well, Shane, we delivered Christmas gifts for the entire SEC. I hope our audience gets the gifts they want. I know they won't be getting anything.
We should have grinched it. Like, what could we take away from the program, Have you seen those videos floating around?
No.
So I spend way too much time on TikTok, but these Grinch videos are hilarious. These Grinch comes in and they steal Christmas presents. The kids are crying. They're knocking the trees over. Some of the kids are fighting. I mean, they're emotionally scarring these kids for life, but I am there for it. So, yeah, maybe the next segment, we just go around and just steal some. Like, I'm going to take this off of Georgia's team and put it on Tennessee,
Well, yeah, I will be not a part of that. I can guarantee you, Shane. I'm trying to keep the people happy, not trying to Grinch up their Christmas. But I think that's a perfect note to go out on. You got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, Mike. Again, great hearing from you again, and Listeners, if you've missed a couple of the other episodes, be sure to download and listen to those. Bear with us during the holidays. You know, it gets a little dicey, but we're going to try to get content out to you every single day, so that you guys at least have something to listen to if you want to escape the family, because they're all coming in, you know. All those bastards are showing up, and they got their hands out.
Yeah, don't forget. So we'll have an early signing day recap on the next episode. We'll be previewing Missouri's bowl game, and then until the actual game's played, we'll do a recap of that. I'm going to try to do a live recap, but beyond that, that's all the shows we got lined up for this week. I appreciate you, as always, Shane. I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols. Merry Christmas.